Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be having a look at the 60-day cycles, how they're developing, and how the 60-day cycle can actually help us in trading some of the candlestick patterns that are currently developing. And there is one pattern which I've had a look at many times with yourselves, and we'll have a look at that, exactly what's happening and what's likely to happen in the next few weeks and months. I'll also have a look at a trade setup which potentially looks like developing that I'm looking at currently. So if that sounds interesting, you know exactly what to do. Get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, relax, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. Okay, before I start, the usual polite reminder, please remember everything in my videos is just for educational purposes. So please do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. Okay, I'm going to actually start today, before I do the technical analysis, on 3 quotations that I left on the Twitter page early this morning. And I just wanted to start the week on a very positive note. And what I've left here is I've said that take control of your destination with one phrase that comes to mind when I look at these 3 particular quotations, and that phrase is, if it's to be, it's up to me. And this one phrase can absolutely transform your life, because that's exactly what it did back in 2002. And it's really a quotation for those people who are really up for the challenge, who are not worried about getting their hands dirty, people who really want to progress and improve and achieve their goals and targets and destination in terms of their vision and their dreams. So what are these 3 quotations? The first thing we must always remember is that we must stop being prisoners of our past and become the architects of our future. Throughout my life, one thing I've noticed, and the thing that really holds people back time and time and time again, it is so common that it's actually what I would call a real disease of the mind. And that is that so many people in my life I've come across seem to just live in the past. They've got some really bad reference points of the past. They might be their upbringing, it could be their parents, it could be their siblings, it could be teachers, it could be a school, it could be college, it could be anything. Certain things have happened, and people, for whatever reason, want to feel sorry for themselves about what's happened in the past. And as a result, they become prisoners of their past. And that just holds them back, because what they do without realizing is that they actually park their emotions in those reference points of the very bad past that they've had. And the language these people use, you'll have heard them many times. They always start with, oh, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what's happened to me in the past. You don't know my life story. You don't know. As soon as somebody starts with that, you know that that person is a prisoner of the past. And it's very difficult to actually, like a tanker in a sea, it's very difficult to turn them around. So if this is you, becoming a prisoner of the past, please stop being a prisoner and instead look forward to being the architect of your future. Which leads me nicely to this particular quotation, and that is that happiness is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them. So it's not what happens, it's how you respond. This life is not a smooth ride. So once you realize that this life is not a smooth ride, then you've got to really be up for the challenge to actually deal with and respond to anything and everything that is an issue, a problem, a difficulty. Those types of things you'll come across regularly. So it's how you deal with the problems that you face. And having a positive mental attitude goes a long way to resolving this. And one thing I would like to say to people who want to go on this journey of that phrase that if it's to be, it's up to me. If you really want to go on that journey, if you really want to achieve your dreams and visions and goals and objectives and targets, the best way to avoid disappointment is to not expect anything from anyone. Once you take power over all your decisions, you'll be liberated and free from any of the disappointments of dealing with other people. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little message, a few messages to start the week off on a positive note. I'm going to go straight into the technical analysis. I'm really going to be looking at the 60-day cycle, but before I go into that, in the last few videos I've presented this particular chart many times. A particular candlestick pattern seems to develop at the end of a bear market downturn. So back in 2011, the first bear market we got in the first cycle before the end of the cycle was this one here. Got a very brutal downturn, and this was followed by a particular candlestick pattern that developed over here, which we've had a look at over the last few videos. And that is the morning star pattern, which is really a red big candle at the bottom of the trend, followed by a small bodied candle, which is then followed by a solid green candle on the other side. So it's a 3 candle pattern that develops, and after that you normally always get a green candle afterwards to play this pattern out, and that usually leads to a big run up afterwards. And at the same time as that, you may have noticed that I've got this blue line, which is the 8 EMA on the monthly chart, and usually this pattern ends up breaking the 8 EMA in the process of all this price action going on. So this was within the first cycle, and then at the end of that cycle, the end of the 4-year cycle that is, when we have a look at what happened at the bottom of that bear market, we had the bear market there, got the big red candle over here, got a few indecision small bodied candles on this side, and then we got the green big candle on the other side. So this is what we call an extended morning star pattern over here. And once again, the price crossed the 8 EMA, and then we got another green candle that followed, which again subsequently was followed by a big run up to the next top that we had. And that was in December 2017. And if we have a look at that, once again, a brutal bear market, big red candle on this side, small bodied candles in the middle, and then a big green candle on the other side. Another extended morning star pattern developing here. And once again, another green candle that followed it after we've passed over the 8 EMA. And if you notice over here, at the top of the previous market in 2021, I've highlighted this price action over here. If we have a close look at that, because what we got was a mirror pattern at the top here. So we got an evening star, which is the reverse of the morning star, i.e. a big green candle taking the market up, a small bodied candle, a red one usually, at the top, and then a big red candle to the downside. And that was followed by a red candle below it. But then we got a green candle on this side, which was then forming the morning star pattern here. So we got an evening star followed immediately by a morning star. And these are very rare, these happen. But that was a clue of this happening here. So, and once again, we got above the 8 EMA, and obviously we know that we topped out over here. So currently, what we've got is a similar pattern as I've shown you over the last few videos. The reason why I'm mentioning this now is that we are coming to the end of the month, and this candle over here is about to close tomorrow. And what we've got is the same pattern developing. We've got the red candle followed by a small red bodied candle here, and then the green Marubozu candle on the other side. So we've got a morning star on the monthly chart here. And I said that when you go back in history, the morning star pattern is usually followed by a 50 to 60% increase after that. Now currently, we're not anywhere near that at the moment, because this closed at around about the 23,000 level, and we're at 23 and a half. So it's only about, the highest it's been is around about 9%. So it's got one more day to go to see whether we can actually reach that. It doesn't look likely at the moment, but obviously anything can happen with Bitcoin. But certainly if the previous cycles are to be followed, then we have got a big run up coming up over here, because once we've gone above the 8 EMA like we have just now, and you can see quite clearly here that we're finding support above the 8 EMA, which is at 22.8. So as long as we don't break that, it looks as though we're going to continue to follow what the cycles have followed over the last 12 years. And only time will tell if it's going to play out, but we need to just identify what's happening over here. And the reason why I'm looking at this pattern is because on the daily chart, something similar is occurring as well. But before I go into the candlestick pattern, I'm going to go through the 60-day cycle and where we're at. Okay, so this is the current 60-day cycle. We bottomed out here after day 56. So the new cycle starts from day 56 over here. So from this point, this is now the mid-cycle, around about the middle of March, around 15th of March, and this should be the end of the cycle around about the middle of April. And the reason why this is important, knowing some sort of a direction travel for the Bitcoin price, because we've just come out of a bear trend market after 1 year, we tend to make right translated cycles. And so when we're now coming up to the midpoint, we should be expecting, of course this is all hypothetical, it may not happen, but since we don't know what the future price is, what these cycles do is they tell us the direction of travel, that if this is the midpoint of the cycle and at the end of a bear market we get right translated cycles, then we can expect the price to go above and beyond this mid-cycle point before making a 60-day low into this point here in the middle of April. And that's important because when you look at candlestick patterns developing like this over here, which is a morning star pattern, which is obviously bullish, then that provides confluence to the narrative that if there's a morning star pattern here and we're going into the midpoint of the cycle over here, then there is a greater probability, and it's all about probabilities. So it's a greater probability that the price action is going to be moving to this direction, and hopefully if there's enough days and time left over here, because that's what the 60-day cycles provide, they provide you an element of time, that there is time to break through this very resistant, very solid line of resistance around the 25,200 level. And because we're still early in the cycle, there is an opportunity for the price to make new highs into this mid-cycle. It may well be that the market just wants to consolidate over this period of time, so we'll just have to see how that develops. Because if you have a run-up like this from down here to 25.2, we've had a 60-odd% increase, and so far from the 25,200 level to the lowest point we've been down around about 15%. So a 60% increase with a 15% correction seems quite normal for Bitcoin. And maybe we just need to recharge the batteries for Bitcoin and create some sort of a base at a higher level over here before we break through. So we'll just have to see how that develops. The main support level should be this point here at around about 21,500. And this candle here was actually at 21,300. So as long as we don't break this candle here at 21,300, we're still creating higher lows around this point, so we should be still on the uptrend at the moment here. So strategy wise, I've already got my positions in place from down here, and I hope most of you have as well, and I'm just waiting for the market to resolve which direction it wants to go. And these are the parameters I'm looking at to make sure that at 21.3 it doesn't break down. Until it breaks down there, I'm still going to remain optimistic and bullish into this mid-cycle point. And on the weekly chart, it's looking exactly the same. We're well above the 80 EMA, as you can see here. We've had this run up. Once more, another morning star pattern, an extended one on the weekly chart. We've broken the 18.3. We've taken out these candles over here. And maybe we're going to find support at this 80 EMA here at around about 22.4. But it's on the daily chart that a new development is occurring now. It's a morning star pattern over here, for those of you with a keen eye may have noticed. So red candle, small bodied candle, green candle. This should normally be followed by a green candle. But as you can see, the 8 EMA is currently providing resistance to that. But once we get above it, that would be very bullish and would send it much, much higher, maybe to re-challenge the 25.2 and then beyond from there. So that's the current setup on the daily chart. And obviously it would be invalidated if we break below this 22,500 here. And the big level to notice is this one here at 21.3. Because once we break 21.3, then the next real level is going to be this 18.3 all the way down here again. I'm not expecting that, but it is something we need to always be aware of. This morning star pattern really feeds into the overall bigger picture of the 25,200 level over here, as well as this inverse head and shoulder pattern. So all this price action taking place over here may well be something that's developing into the right shoulder to give us the inverse head and shoulder pattern. And the normal measurement of what this pattern should actually give rise to would be from the bottom of this pattern at 15.4 all the way to the neckline of the 25.2, it should give us about a 60% increase from here to the next resistant point. So if you take 60% from there, it takes the price to around about the $40,000 mark, which is the lower range of our 2023 target of between 40 and 50,000. So let's see where it goes to, but these are the things that we all need to be aware of. And if you know anything about classical charting patterns, these inverse head and shoulders are the #1 chart patterns that generally play out. Obviously, it's about probabilities. They have the highest probability of playing out. And we're right at the bottom of the bear market here. So there is a very good probability it's going to play out as long as we're on this new bull cycle of the next 4 years. Something developing on the 4-hour chart. Actually, I noticed this outside bar candle here, which totally engulfed the previous candle. So that's why this is called an outside bar candle. As you can see, it closed much higher with a green body that's far, far bigger. That tells you that the market is about to run up, and this is exactly what it's already done. So this feeds into that one-day morning star pattern that we've just had a look at. So whenever you see these outside bar candles at the bottom of a trend like this, pay attention to that, because that could be a very good trade setup to actually have a run up to the upside for about many candles up here. And always put your stop loss below the previous low around here, and you've got enough room for it to grow. So all that seems to be feeding into this current price action that's going on here and into the mid-cycle point going forward here. So let's see what happens. Only time will tell. Okay, before I finish, I just want to say a very big thank you to all those people from the last video who signed up for the members only videos on the Bitcoin miners analysis that we are doing on the Wednesday videos now. We did the first introductory video for the Bitcoin miners analysis on the Friday, and just to let you know that I'll be doing a video this Wednesday in 2 days time, and I'll be covering the possible target for the Bitcoin miners, and that's Marathon Holdings. So I'm going to be doing a target price for Marathon Holdings in the next 2 to 3 years towards the top of the market. What's the possibility? And you'll be shocked by the actual figure I'm going to give you. But when you look at the analysis, you'll realize that it's actually very reasonable and very rational to come to that conclusion. But it is a target that's very much achievable considering what happened towards the end of 2021. I'll also be doing a special feature on the one company amongst all the Bitcoin miners, and there's about 20 of them, and why I think it's got the potential to outperform every single one of them in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's a video to look forward to on Wednesday. So those of you who have joined, thank you very much indeed for joining. And if you haven't joined, and you would like to join and receive a detailed analysis of all the Bitcoin miners companies as we go along, because I'm going to be covering all of the 20 somewhere along the line, all you have to do is go to any of my videos. You'll see the join button over here. So if you click on this button, you can join the Bitcoin miners analysis every Wednesday. And if you're on a handheld device, then I've left a link below the videos in the description box down here. You should be able to join from that button on a handheld device. Okay, we'll leave it there. Hope you found value in the video. If you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you've got any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.